Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to We Are Wed Talks. Hey.
Hello.
We have our first repeat customer back. Kelly, what's up? How you doing?
How are y'all?
Doing
Excited
good.
to be back and see how this thing's been going.
When you say repeat customer, I'm expecting you to bill her at the end of this.
She's already been invoiced.
Oh, okay.
So if you, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't listened to one of the episodes, I think it's episode 3.
Yeah.
Kelly was on there. So we've got Kelly back and we're really excited. And we're going to talk. We're going to have some fun. We got a little different setup. Going to switch it up for you guys. Keep it fun and interesting. So Kelly, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Very great. Just coming off the summer roller coaster. Usually things tend to slow down just a little bit.
Break.
Just because it rains every single day here. So.
And it's like 100 degrees every day.
The heat index has been out of control. Like, what was it, 2 weeks ago? I looked at the heat index. It said 112. I was like, oh, are you kidding me?
Get out of here.
That's when we went and got tacos. We were like making bets. I was like, it's 109. You're like, it's 111, dude. It's hot.
So Kelly's taking us out for tacos. She doesn't know that yet, but she's taking us out for tacos.
Sounds great.
So how are your lovely daughters doing? What's going on with them?
Great. I am actually, my youngest just started full-time childcare and I'm ready to take over the world.
When you had that big pause and the big smile and you're like, well, I was like, she's about to say she's pregnant. We're about to both be shocked.
No. I am ready to take over the world. So my baby is 14 months old and then I still have a 4-year-old. So the fact that they both are in childcare, like nothing's going to stop me.
Full-time work now.
Nice.
The grind.
Nice.
Beast mode.
Oh, wow. I'm scared.
Me too.
Get it, Kelly. Hey, listen, if you need a videographer or a DJ,
Y'all are first on my list.
yes.
You literally just said, if you need a DJ or a videographer.
We are Wed Talks, having fun. So, Kelly, we are going to get into, educating and inspire. So, when you started off, what were some of the things we all have some struggles, we all have some wins. We're going to go with the struggles. What were some of the things that you struggled with when you started off?
Well, when I first, and it's almost kind of like a repeat that I kind of hear on here, but I really want to let people know that you don't have to be like everyone else. And when I first started looking at, okay, who's my competition? And then you go and you start look exactly what they're doing. That really kills you.
It does.
Because it's like, oh my gosh, I have to be that great right now. And if you go in with that kind of mindset, you're dead before you even get out the gate.
Yeah.
So put your blinders up and you just got to do your own thing.
Fire. That was crushed, dude.
Yeah, don't compare yourself to the competition. Just be your own self. Be unique. Be your authentic self.
I think one of the things too, like when you say that, like I just think is like don't compare yourself to others, because you start devaluing yourself when you compare yourself to others.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like
Mm-hmm.
don't worry. Like if they were super successful within a year, if it takes you 2 years, that's totally fine. Like slow success builds character. Like at the end of the day.
Exactly.
True story. I mean, if you were supposed to be that person, you would have been born that person.
Yeah.
So you just be you. You use your ideas, use your strengths, and learn from your weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody has different strengths and weaknesses. And that's why we all work together, or should work together and collab.
Absolutely. And if you're finding joy in that and doing what you're doing, keep with it. And
Yeah.
I would also suggest too, for people who are just coming in, educate yourself. Find every opportunity to go out, whether it's to take a conference here, build on yourself personally, build on your business. That is where a lot of your investments should go.
Yeah. That's good.
So when you say that, is there, excuse me, is there like a school for wedding? I mean, there's no school for like videography. I don't think there's really a school for like, how did you learn besides on the job?
I did do a lot of on-the-job training, but then there are a couple things around the country. Some are more expensive than others, but just certification courses.
Mm-hmm.
And they just kind of talk about how the business structured should be done. They talk about ethics. They kind of talk about,
That's good.
what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, and how to grow a proper business.
Gotcha. So there's not like just one place to go. There's like, you got to do some research and dig.
Right.
Gotcha.
And then, of course, there's Engage Summit. You've probably heard of that before.
Nope.
Oh my gosh,
That's
on my next list to go to. That one's a little bit pricier, and it's more inspiration.
Where's it at?
Oh, it travels all around the world.
Oh, cool.
So the one that I had some friends go to, they went to Banff, Canada.
Mhm.
They did one in London, England. And,
Oh, wow.
I mean, they're all over, and it's just the most amazing people coming together. Also, in October, Wedding MBA is coming up.
Okay.
And I'm taking my other planner with me, and we're going to go up there. And
Where's that at?
In Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
So we're trying to take every opportunity and just grow and learn and really dive into the industry.
Yep.
So make sure we got to go ahead and book it for right after that, because I want to get all that education.
Oh, Wedding MBA, and that's the whole wedding industry. That's not just planners. That's everyone, even like the technology systems that you're
When
using.
is that?
It's in October. I want to say it's like the 7th through or the week after.
Okay.
Wedding MBA.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying too. We are Wed Talks on the road.
I mean,
but
And
as
it's in
well.
Las Vegas. I'm so excited. I've never been before. So
Ramsey would go broke.
What do you mean by
Melissa
that?
would kill me because I didn't stop you, bro. She'd be like,
Make
"It's
them
your
stop."
responsibility." Yeah.
It's Ramsey, yo.
Yeah.
So with that, we were talking before we started. Planners that are coming in, tips for them.
So educate yourself. Put your blinders up. Also, make friends and go introduce yourself. I mean, don't just limit yourself to specific vendors. Go introduce yourself, get to know them, and really find out what's going to make their job easier. I know that's one thing I do personally, and I kind of take it upon myself is how can I make my vendors' jobs easier? Because I'm one of the main key players when it comes to a wedding. And so if I can make your job easier, you can show up a little less nervous.
Yeah.
Knowing that, there's someone that's going to be able to call the shots and knows exactly what's going on. And I mean, you've seen it before where you're just like, as soon as you show up on Ramsey, as soon as you show up, I'm like, okay, we're going to do this, 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 and this. And you got it. Let's roll.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm kind of bad about answering Kelly's email. She gets mad at me.
Are you, dude? You?
She's like, did you get the timeline? I'm like, I mean, yeah.
Did you read it, Ramsey? Did you read it? I got it, but did you read it?
Kelly's fourth tip is to read the timelines and to reply back.
Yes. All my vendors, please just read it because you get to edit it.
Yeah.
So do you feel like that's probably something that people don't think about or get nervous about is like going out and putting themselves out there? Like you were saying, like meet people, work with people. Do you feel like people kind of sit in their bubble and don't go do that? Maybe that's why they're not getting to where they want to be.
Absolutely. But more than likely, you've set this big, giant, audacious goal. And if it really sets you on fire, you need to do everything in your power to get yourself further along. And getting and talking to people, you got to go do that.
Yep. You got to collab. You got to co-work. Boom.
Yeah, I know I'm an introvert, so that's like naturally that's just harder for me. Like I'm just used to like kind of stepping back, and it's like since I started the business, that's one thing I learned really quick is like you have to talk to people and meet people, and honestly too, I know a lot of times like introverts struggle with not being extroverts. Like I mean, me a lot of times I'm like, oh, I wish I just talk to people more, and like so one of the things that like business wise it's helped me is talking to people more. Like it's helped me grow my extrovert. Ramsey's just naturally an extrovert though, so that's why we work together. I just let him talk.
The perfect duo.
Yeah, I let him talk, and then I'm just like, don't say that.
It's Taco Tuesday.
For real though,
Kelly.
Tacos.
You're picking us up. We're gonna get tacos. Okay.
Gotcha.
You don't have the kids anymore, so
No excuses.
As long as you guys can buckle into the car seats, y'all are great.
yeah.
All right. So on back to the email and the response. Since I don't read emails, do you feel? Well, I've heard talking to brides that response time, communication is probably the most valuable asset you can have. Like you can show up, you can do the work, and even if your work isn't up to, where you want it to be yet, if you communicate with your client, that shows that you care about your client. Tell us about your communication with your client, because you were talking about it before we got on, blowing my mind.
So if it's a new client who I've never met with, it's an inquiry of just someone who might be interested. I try to have a 2-hour or less response time, because right now that bride is sitting right there in front of the computer and she wants to talk to someone right then and there. And she wants answers. So for my new inquiries, I try to do that. With my other emails, responding to clients, I try to a day or less. Usually, I mean, if it's taken a day, that's too long. And I also personally give them all my cell phone numbers just so they feel at ease. And most of the time, it's just something small, quick, and easy. They can shoot me over a text and I answer them. That kind of thing.
I feel like for me, definitely when I get an email, like I call. I'm old school. I know that everybody's snaps and tweets and DMs.
Man.
Like a lot of brides DM. Like
Yeah.
I have brides that DM on Instagram.
I feel like every year it gets more and more too. Like every year I keep seeing like more and more of it.
So I mean, the brides are younger, so that's their generation, that's their culture. So I mean, Facebook messages, emails. I get messages in Twitter, so I try to call. Like I handle it a lot better when I call. I'm just like, okay, I see it, cool. Because when I'm sitting there, I'm just like, trying to build up this nice email instead of just being like, hey, what's up? How can I help you? You know? So whatever your form of communication that suits you the best, do it. Don't try to be an emailer if you're not. Don't try to talk over the phone if you don't do that a lot.
How'd you look at me when you said that? Dude?
Well, I've always heard that in whichever media that they reach out to you, that's how you should respond.
I just got educated.
So, because that's what they're most comfortable with.
Dang, Kelly, you just put me on Front Street like that.
Let me scoot my chair up.
Yep.
So let me ask y'all this question for new people coming in. What is y'all's like average like turnover rate? Like how many emails do you like, you know, for example, do you get 10 emails? Like for me, it's usually at 1 out of 10 inquiries we book, roughly, give or take.
Wow.
Cause I feel like I know a lot of people coming in that can be very discouraging to be like, oh man, I just got, 7 inquiries and I didn't book one.
Well, Kelly, you go.
So it really depends how the inquiry is coming in. I haven't really I get a lot of inquiries through Wedding Wire, a ton of them, but they don't necessarily come out to be great, real leads. It's just people price shopping and wants a little bit more information. So yes, I get a ton. Ones that will come directly through my Facebook or my Instagram or even directly through my website. Those people are more likely to set a meeting with me. I do in-person consultations, and then I also do phone consultations if they're not able to meet with me in person. And if they sit down with me in person, they're going to book with me.
That's kind of how it is for us. Like,
so I always try to set that meeting. Come meet with me. Come talk to me.
I feel like with Wedding Wire, I kind of get something you get a ton because I think Wedding Wire just has a thing. Dude, there it goes again, bro. Have a beard, so just like it hits the microphone. Hold on. There we go. Bros, thank you, bro.
You're welcome. I got you.
It's like Wedding Wire is about 1 out of 10, but I kind of get the same thing. If people are reaching out directly through our website, we tend to get way higher like success rate on it.
Well, I feel like when they come through your website, they actually were looking for you.
Yeah.
I do feel like on Wedding Wire, it's kind of like
they stumble upon you. Yeah. And then they're just price shopping at that point. They're just emailing everybody like, what's your price? What's your price? What's your price? What's your price? You're the cheapest. I'm going with you.
You have to sit down and talk to me first because all my prices kind of vary. Yeah. So I can't give them just a straight out the door answer. I kind of just give them a range.
And then too, I mean, we all want as many bookings as possible.
No, I'm not too many bookings there. I kind of limit myself.
She's put the smack down on me.
but it's different. It's different. I'm a lot more involved over a longer period of time. And I want to be able to do it versus like you are more involved ahead of time, but not quite as in detail as I am. So I don't want to overwhelm it. So I don't want 100 weddings a year. That would be insane. Are you kidding?
Right. Yeah. As a wedding planner, 100 weddings a year, that'd be, wow, a ton. But on that, I feel like everybody has their clients, and then when you try to book that client that's not your client, it usually does not work out.
Yes.
So, I mean, we all want a ton of bookings or a set amount of bookings, but if you don't feel that it's right, and sometimes
don't do it. Do not do it. I actually had a call the other day, and I picked up the phone. I was like, "This is Caleb," and they were like, "Do you do same day edits?" And I was just kind of like thrown off, and I was like, it just threw me off, like, 'cause they were just like super aggressive, and I was like, it's like, oh, what are you looking for? And they're like, wedding photography. I was like, yes, we do. And I started getting that uneasy feeling about it. And then at that point, I was just like, yeah, we're booked for your day. Sorry. Because it's just like, when you get that uneasy feeling, it's for a reason. And if you book it, you'll regret it more than likely.
As a DJ, I've done it. As a social media or podcaster, I've had clients that probably shouldn't have taken. But I was like, okay, let's go do this. And then you're like, So on the number of emails you get, the clients you get are supposed to be your clients.
Yeah.
You can sell, and sometimes you will book that client and that wasn't going to book with you, and they may end up being your client. But in the end all of end alls, we usually end up working with who we're supposed to work with.
Yeah.
Why are you tapping me on my phone?
You're attracted to those. Like, I feel like there's a certain bride and certain couple that's attracted to me, and I'm just like, they love my list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Why are you tapping me on my foot?
Oh, my bad, dude.
Oh.
Footsies.
So we do here.
I play with your beard and you tap me on my foot. You playing footsies? Okay, that's cool. I'm down with it. No discrimination.
No discrimination.
So with that being said, we were having a little chat before we started. We're going to get to some horror stories really quickly. Everybody's got the gas face on. So I'll go ahead and start off real quick. We're going to have some fun. We are Wed Talks. So did a wedding and everything was going great. They were getting really intoxicated. I remember looking at the bar before we set up, and I saw a lot of whiskey and a lot of scotch and a lot of good beers. I was like, a lot of people there. So parties goes off. Everybody's having a blast, whatever. But I know they're getting crunk. I can see it. Then they add the extra hour. Dun, dun, dun.
And Little Wayne starts playing.
It starts going ham. So party's done. Everything's done. Everybody's wrapping up. I'm sitting there. I'm wrapping up. And I look and I see the bride's grandma and I see the groom's grandma. And they're talking. And I'm like, okay, cool. And I'm like wrapping up. And then one of the grandmas vomits. And then I don't know if you've ever seen Stand By Me, 80s movie.
Yes.
The other grandma starts to vomit. And this is inside the venue. And I'm like, oh my, what's going on? And then it was a chain reaction. Like I saw somebody else that was watching it happen. They started vomiting. And then somebody else started vomiting.
Oh no.
And then somebody else started vomiting. I was like, oh, I almost started vomiting. So I had to leave. And I don't know how, I counted 5 until I left. But
I stayed around. Once it hit 5, I decided, you know what, I should go.
I was like, okay, I've seen enough. This is over. So, yeah, don't vomit at a wedding. Come on, guys.
I don't think they had control over that. Well,
that's rough, bro.
So who's next with a horror story? I told mine.
So I have one. And Ramsey, you were actually at this wedding.
Mm-hmm.
So I had, there was a mama there and the bride, and the father had passed away a few years ago. And then, so when it came time to the father-daughter dance, and I, prepped the mom. I'm like, okay, are you ready? You're going to stand in because her dad wasn't able to be here. And she's like, I don't want to dance with her. I didn't even like him. And I was like, hold on, mama. This isn't about you. This is you having to fill those shoes.
Oh my gosh.
And so she kind of put up an argument to that. Well, a little bit later, she did it and was silly and didn't take it serious. But a little bit later on, the music was coming up just a little bit. Ramsey was playing the good tunes. She calls the photographer over, and she's holding a cigarette behind her hand, and then she's got this little vape pen. And she's like taking these big drags and blowing it. And she's like, oh, trying to make sure the photographer is capturing this. And I'm just like, why does she got a vape pen? Why does she want to capture that? She was apparently toking it up in front of everyone, in front of all the guests. And I'm just like, are you sure? And they're just like, yeah, that's not a vape pen. That's a special vape pen.
Toke, smoke, Snoop Dogg in the house.
Man.
All right. That was a good one. That was a good one.
That would just hurt my heart.
Yeah, it would. But she had to relax.
She was already
in front of everybody,
relaxed.
dude.
And she was making sure the photographer got it.
True. You're right. Yeah. Out of line completely.
I don't know what I did like as a
I don't
videographer.
think you
She
can
was
kick
like,
the
"Come
mom out."
here." Yeah. Come here, I want you to get this. Be like, okay.
I'm not recording, but
Yeah.
here I am right
Yeah.
there. I remember. I see it now. I see all of it now. I remember. We were like, oh, wow.
That's not real life, is it?
Oh,
Yep.
wow.
Yep, that's real life.
Toke, smoke, Snoop Dogg.
Man.
All right. I've heard this story before, Kelly, but I'm going to let Caleb.
I don't know if we have time for this. Do we have time for this, dude?
We got to complete the trifecta. You got to go. Make it snappy.
It's a good one.
It is. Do you know the story?
I've heard bits and pieces of it.
Yeah. So we had a wedding down in 30A, and the lady was really vague about everything and like wasn't getting me scheduled. She's like, oh, there's only gonna be like 10 to 15 people here. So she's like, you don't need like a huge schedule. So I called her like the night before because we're not getting anything. She's not telling us what time to show up or anything. And then so finally, get on the phone. She's like, oh, I'm still waiting on my other half to get into town. Why don't you just be here at 2:00 tomorrow? Or I'll just let you know. She's actually, I'll let you know first thing in the morning because you may get in a little bit late. So like, don't hear anything in the morning. So we get there at 2. We actually got there about 1:30. And I texted her that, hey, we're here. And she's like, oh, we're running late. I think they got there about 2:45. She gets here and she gets out of the car and I'm like, hey, how's it going? She's like, we need to talk. And I was like, crap. I was like, maybe I said something like that maybe was like a jerk comment that I didn't realize was. And so we go inside and like, as we're walking upstairs, she turns around and she's like, what's your faith belief? And I was like, oh crap. Like, just like the first time when someone asks you that, like, especially at a wedding, just kind of throws you off.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm a Christian. She's like, this may be hard for you to believe. And I was like, okay. We go inside, we sit down, and long story short, she's like, yeah, tells us all about this relationship. And then she like very vague about everything. And then she's like, I'm going to go take a rest. And like, I'm just confused sitting here.
She's going to take a rest.
A rest. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so I'm like, I was like, so is the groom like in the Gulf Coast area at all? And she's like, I don't know. And I was like, okay. She's like, y'all can just sit down here and hang out though. She's like, if anything, you're just gonna get paid to hang out today. And I was like, okay.
All right.
And so like as the day goes on, like story kind of starts unfolding. Apparently the photographer knew like everything. We didn't know. She told the photographer, not us. And apparently God told her she was gonna marry this guy at this house and everything. And long story short, he didn't show up. It was crazy. We sat there for like 6 hours, got paid, but it was just crazy.
He didn't show up because he didn't know he was getting
He didn't
married.
know. Yeah, that was the thing. We didn't know till like afterwards. Till like I messaged the photographer. I was like, hey, did he know about it? And she was like, no, he had no idea. And I was like, oh my gosh. My wife was like, you need to call that guy and let him know like that this happened. And I was like, I don't want to get in the middle of it. She's like, Caleb, she's gonna go murder this guy. And I was like, I'm not getting in the middle of it.
So did she actually know the groom? And
She
he
did.
just-
So she said that they were in an on and off again relationship for 7 years. And she said that the Lord told her that they were going to get married at this house on this day. And we were going to be the vendors there. Like she spent like 10 grand on this house to rent it out. And then like all the money on us and like everything. And I'm just like, like I was literally just sitting on the couch at like one point. And I'm just like,
So did you video her getting ready or getting in the
Well, like-
dress? Did
like-
she get in the dress?
She did not get in the dress. So we were sitting there and like as soon as she walked upstairs, I looked at our second shooter. I was like, dude, let's just shoot the details. She did have a dress. She had like a plastic ring. And yeah. And so like, I was like, we're just going to shoot it. And I was like, that way, if he shows up, well, like later on throughout the day, like we're all sitting at this table, like whenever she finally got up from her rest. And I shouldn't laugh, guys. And then the doorbell rings. So like I'm sitting there and I'm like we all thought that the dude showed up and it was the UPS guy. I kind of
I
laughed.
bet that was
inside.
heart wrenching.
Yeah.
Oh,
I was like,
man.
'cause everybody was like, oh, this is happening. And then they're like, just kidding.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you can comment who had the worst horror story. I'm gonna go with that one.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, it wasn't like anything bad. I mean, it bad for her, obviously, but like nothing like crazy happened to us. It was just like awkward the whole time. Because then it's like you're just like sitting there for 6 hours trying to make small talk. Like, so how's life? And then you're like, oh dang, I can't ask that question right now. Like everything I think to like ask, like I was like, I can't ask. Like, so what are y'all doing after this? Oh, you're planning on going on a honeymoon. Sorry, I can't ask that question.
Awkward. I feel awkward right now.
Yeah, that's how I felt, bro, the whole time.
Well, that's the end of this episode. I just want to say thank you again, Kelly. We love having you on. You got to promise to come back.
If you'll have me over again,
100%.
that'd be great.
Yes, 100%. Give everybody your social media handle so they can get in touch with you.
Absolutely. So Southern_Frills on the big IG, and then just Southern Frills on Facebook.
The big IG. Ooh.
The gram.
Fire.
Boom. The gram. We gramming y'all. Always a pleasure. Love seeing you. Love having you. Thank you so much for coming back.
Thank y'all.
Range Coates.
Caleb Cummings.
Kelly Rhodes.
Boom. We are Wed Talks.
Done.